For most of my life, I thought I understood what death meant. Like, I get it. We all die someday, but I never really felt it. And then one day I did. My heart, my breath, it will all stop. I don't know what triggered it exactly, but it just hit me. Not in this movie poetic way, but more sick to your stomach kind of way. I'm going to die. Everyone I know is going to die. It wasn't just a fact anymore. It was real. And that really shook me. I went down all the rabbit holes, nihilism, absurdism, all the religions, and maybe the fact that life has no meaning and that we're just here on this spinning rock for no reason at all, by chance. And honestly, that just made things so much worse. I was anxious all the time. I couldn't sleep. And I kept feeling this constant pressure, this ache in my heart, like time was running out. Some of my friends had stable careers in long-term relationships, and some even getting married. Others were still trying to figure it out, but it looked like they were enjoying life nonetheless. Traveling, doing this, doing that. And I was just kind of there. Not really lost, but not necessarily found either. I was just kind of stuck somewhere in between, wondering what my place was. I didn't always think like this, but I started having all these questions. I thought I was going crazy, but apparently millions and even billions of people for thousands and thousands of years have been asking the same question. What's all this? What's the meaning of it all? What are we doing here? So maybe I wasn't so special after all. A quarter-life crisis, they call it. I thought I was going through this existential crisis because I'm not where I wanted to be. I had this image of myself. I'd be incredibly successful by now with a big house, a nice car, maybe even a wife. A life that people would look at and say, wow, he made it. But that identity started to crumble. I realized that none of that would actually answer any of my questions. It is not death that a man should fear, but never beginning to live. That quote haunted me for a while because I knew I wasn't really living. I was always in my head, regretting the past and anxious about the future. I was so caught up in everything that I missed the present entirely. It's terrifying, genuinely terrifying, when you're stuck with all these heavy questions that you just can't seem to get an answer for, but gives you so much anxiety. You start looking for ways to numb it. Social media, junk food, casual relationships, drugs and alcohol, they're all just ways to not feel the void. And even the things that we praised, whether it's career success, fame, buying a home, and even falling in love, if you're not careful, they can just become ways to avoid the real questions and avoid yourself. For me, it was basketball. It started off as something I loved as a kid and in my teens, something that I look forward to every day. I can wake up early for, something that I can work on. But at some point in my adult life, it became an escape. Not a passion, not a joy, just something to distract me from all the questions that I didn't want to answer. So I would play literally every day to quiet my mind. But over time, through the late night thoughts, the spirals, the breakdowns, I started to understand something. That you might never find a true meaning to life. I remember I used to love history as a kid. I used to read books for hours and hours at a time and watch all these documentaries. But it never occurred to me that I would be history myself, whether or not I'm important enough to be documented and remembered, but I'll be history nonetheless. I thought to myself, we're just a tiny little blip in history, and everything that we care for now won't even be relevant in 100 years, let alone in 1 year or a few months or even just days. And that's when I realized maybe that's where the freedom is. If there is no inherent meaning to life, you get to create one. You get to literally make one up. You can decide what matters to you. even if it won't matter when you and your loved ones are gone. It doesn't have to be this big movie-like scene with all the glory. It can be as simple as learning something new, being there for a friend, trying a new hobby, and creating something that feels true to yourself. And you don't have to have it all figured out, because I realize no one really does. And maybe that's the point. Maybe life isn't about having all the answers. Maybe it's living the questions, showing up, feeling the pain, appreciating the joy, and choosing to be present even when it's hard. An endless search for the truest meaning to yourself. So yeah, I'm still trying to figure it out, but I'm not running anymore. And I still don't know the meaning of life, but I know that I can give my life meaning. And I'm actually quite excited for the start of my own exploration. And maybe that's enough for now.